Hey landlord, I'm Steve White, and the purpose of this video is to expose an ugly problem developing with tenant screening companies, so you, the landlord, don't end up with a bad tenant in the future. To start off, I'd like to ask you a trivia question and work backwards to a larger point. Okay, you ready? Here's the question. If I offered your neighbor $10 today or $11 tomorrow, which option do you think that they're going to choose? The odds-on favorite is that your neighbor is going to choose the $10 today. This isn't my opinion. This is the findings from a study conducted at Princeton, and they also found out some interesting data too. They asked people if they'd like $10 in a year or $11 in a year and a day. Now, people overwhelmingly chose to wait the extra day for the $11. In both scenarios, your neighbor is awarded $1 extra for waiting one more day. So why would your neighbor choose $10 today and in a different scenario choose $11 in a year and a day? Well, according to the study, the researchers concluded that impulsive choices or preferences for short-term rewards result from the emotional related parts of the brain, and they went over the abstract reasoning parts. Well, basically, instant gratification usually wins over logical decision making. So unfortunately for many landlords, when it comes to selecting tenant screening companies, they fall victim to immediate gratification. If you do a Google search of tenant screening companies, you'll see that many of them are touting that they provide an instant background check to their clients. And unfortunately, these instant reports can be chock full of errors, false positives, and missing data on your tenant applicant. The instant tenant screening service knows that people are more likely to purchase the instant report, even if it is not the logical choice. It's also much more profitable because the software created to instantly slap your screening report together, which eliminates payroll and jobs and increases margin on those reports for the screening service. I've seen this trend only rise in the past few years as technology barriers have lowered, and it's easier than ever for a software developer to start an instant screening company. Here at RentPrep, we're not the prom queen of tenant screening companies. In fact, on the surface, we might look like the ugly duckling because you have to wait for one of our FCRA screeners to hand compile your report to ensure that you have the most comprehensive and accurate data at your fingertips when you're choosing a tenant for your rental. Most tenant screening companies are built around maximizing profits instead of providing the best possible product to the landlord. Even if you don't go with RentPrep as your tenant screening service, I'd advise that you go with a service that has a professional screener compiling your report, because it might take an extra hour to get your report back, but it's a lot quicker than a tenant eviction. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them below. And if you do decide to run a background report with RentPrep, be sure to use the promo code 20OFF to get 20% off of your entire first order. Just click the sign up button on our website to get started.